Hey there. So in my last video, I talked about why a remote bookkeeping business makes sense. Now I want to take it a step further and show you the difference between a remote bookkeeping business and a traditional brick and mortar business, because I've done both. As I mentioned in an earlier video, I started my bookkeeping business in 2014, but before that I owned multiple franchises. The first one was back in the mid-1990s with my brother. The internet was still new, Amazon was basically just selling books, and online shopping was practically non-existent. And if you wanted to buy something, you had to go to a store or a shopping mall. So my brother and I went the brick and mortar route and opened a chain of pretzel stores and shopping malls throughout the Northeast. Here's an embarrassing picture of me rolling pretzels in one of those stores. Funny story, we zoomed in on the menu in that picture. A regular pretzel cost $1.50 back then. Today, that same pretzel is like $6 or $7. That's 4 to 5 times the price. But I still buy them, they're really good. Now listen, owning those stores was an incredible experience. I learned a ton. But over time I realized running a food franchise wasn't the kind of business I wanted long term. Eventually we sold the stores and moved on. So let's start with one of the biggest differences, startup costs. The pretzel franchise I owned in the 90s cost about $150,000 to $200,000 per store to get off the ground. And that included a franchise fee of $25,000, build out of the store, all the equipment including mixers, ovens, refrigerators, freezers, sinks, registers, and most importantly, the initial inventory, dough, cups, napkins, supplies. And here's the key point. All of that money goes out the door before you make your first dollar. That's your risk, before you even open your doors. Now, fast forward to today. That same type of business, you're probably looking at $200,000 to $500,000 or more just to get started. Here are a few popular franchises today and their approximate startup costs. You can see that Jam Pro is lower cost because it's service-based and there's no storefront. Popeyes, on the other hand, is very high cost because of all the build-out and the equipment. Others fall somewhere in between. And you'll notice something important. The more equipment, space, and build-out you need, the more expensive it gets. Now, compare that to a remote bookkeeping business. Your startup cost, it can literally be zero. If you already have a laptop, you're in business. If not, a basic laptop, I saw one advertised yesterday on Amazon for around $250. A more high-end laptop like a MacBook Pro is around $1,800. An external monitor is anywhere in between $60 and $90. So realistically, you're looking at somewhere between $0 and $1,900 total. Now there are a few other small startup costs you might have. Maybe a printer, mouse, keyboard, or cables if you don't already have them. You might want to set up an LLC, and actually I can show you how to do that in a separate video very inexpensively directly through your state. You might also eventually want a website and domain and some kind of document storage, although you can use something like Google Drive for free when you're just getting started. And here's the interesting part. There are actually ways to get access to the main bookkeeping software and even training for free. I'm not going to go too deep into that here. I'm actually putting together a free training where I walk through exactly how to do that step by step. It's not ready just yet, but it's coming soon. So if you're interested, make sure you're subscribed because I'll be releasing that shortly. So think about that for a second. You can start a business for under $2,000, or you can risk $200,000 to $500,000 before you even open your doors. And this is just one piece of the puzzle because startup cost is only the beginning. In the next video, I'm going to break down something even more important, ongoing expenses, and what it actually costs to run these businesses month to month, because that's where the gap really starts to widen. If you're thinking about starting a remote bookkeeping business, I'm going to keep breaking this down step by step so you can see exactly what you're getting into and how to do it the right way. I'll see you in the next one.